Today we have got Peace Corps volunteers who are going into our schools to help promote education, to help promote peace in our schools, to help promote gender equality in our schools, because we believe in the radical inclusion policy wherein the Peace Corps are going to the distant areas, not in Freetown, and they are going to help both boys and girls, and they are going to help retain peace in our schools. We want to welcome the Peace Corps, and we are grateful to the American government, and we are also grateful to the team here in Sierra Leone, the ambassador, and also the director of the Peace Corps, Natalie.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office for which I'm about to enter.
I first came into contact with Peace Corps in 1967.
At the age of 11, about 1963, when Peace Corps came to our schools, primary school in Port Loko.
The year I first came in contact with the Peace Corps was 1970.
I first came in contact with the Peace Corps in 1973 when I was a student at Our Lady of Guadalupe Secondary School, Lonside.
In 1973, whilst I was doing my second form in the boat school.
That was 1978.
In 1985 at Bow Teachers College.
In 1996.
I met Grace. Fortunately, Grace asked me a critical question. He said, do you know this, and the meaning of these statements made by John F. Kennedy? So I started watching. I said, wow, I'm not an American. Don't ask me this question. And he still insisted. He said, do you know? I said, which question? Do you know that you should never ask what the nation has done for you, but you should ask what you have done for the nation? So I started having that spirit for what? Voluntarism, to be frank. Grace inspired me to do a lot of voluntarism within my community.
1980. By then, me not be a school-going boy. I mean, I attend St. Francis Secondary School in Makeni. So then send this Peace Corps na Kumala village, when the name of Susan Eastwood.
Today, there are a lot of people who have made it in life. Some of them are doctors, some of them are politicians, who have some form of contact with the Peace Corps. So, and these people are always helping their community, especially the community of Mambolo.
So you come study the environment. You see with people there now, 110 then they harvest for a year. When other we own local farming, what they do? 110 now they harvest. And they look and say, people then need for get food. You don't understand? Eh? So now I say, well, in as a Peace Corps, it come for help with people there. So it introduce that swamp farming now to people then. So it come with a seedling. This seedling we come with now, where they scatter now the swamp, you don't understand. Eh? Now 3 times with the harvest for the year. So if I now say now, that 3 harvest or they harvest in a year, a cushion, they angry where me people let me get now the village.
I was thrilled to be the first volunteer there and to introduce the swamp development program so they could have more than 1 harvest of rice a year. So the first harvest was by a young farmer, Mohammed Jallo, and he was so proud of it. And it was ripening, and just the day that we thought we were going to go out and harvest it, we were out on the way to the swamp, and we started passing all these people with baskets of rice on their heads. And the chief had sent the people of the town to harvest the rice for the sake of the town because it was so hungry. And of course, Muhammad was really mad, but you know, to me, that is why we were there, was to help alleviate the food shortage.
They were all teachers, yes, and they worked mainly in the rural areas, but they stayed in our house when they, weekends, and when they first came, when they were doing their orientation, and then weekends and holidays and that. And I remember Mary asking my dad to invite his friends to our house to have lunch, and she was going to prepare lunch on that day. She taught us how to make tuna rice balls, and also meatballs, adding some sugar to it, and that, and so my father's friends came, and that was celebrating Apollo 11.
Well, for me, Peace Corps, they are, you know, they are trainers. Because I can vividly remember the first impact that my community have was what? Through teaching. All right? I can vividly recall. I mean, for grace's sake, or the Peace Corps' sake, my chief, I was highly recognized by the chief in Bo. Okay? So that is a great impact for me. Grace was one of the greatest someone in my life. She was very, very smart and very, very intelligent someone. I learned intelligence, I learned personality, how to recognize someone's personalities.
All those of us who made it up, all of us came from their hands in terms of knowledge. In fact, the top senior people who have led this country, who have, in terms of leadership, some are working in the United Nations, and they taught lots of people who are credible in terms of all things. When you talk of credibility, integrity counts.
I remember that the arrival of Peace Corps in Sierra Leone created a big change in our teaching in schools, particularly secondary schools. They actually made a big change in our teaching profession. And those of us who served as teachers with them can remember that they influenced us positively in our teaching methods and teaching career. So that I remember as a big contribution of Peace Corps to education in Sierra Leone.
They inspire me for make I able to become the sciences there. Now I teach biology, I teach chemistry. I say I don't go up to master's level. So then I feel say they don't do very big thing in my life. So any benefit I get, I feel say my community and the nation at large, they don't benefit.
Well, I came in 1961 when we began the training, but when we actually went to Sierra Leone, we arrived on January 2nd, 1962. And I was assigned to the Albert Academy, which is in Freetown. And I was teaching history and civics and art. And after I was teaching there for about 6 months or so, the government transferred me to the Sierra Leone National Museum, where I served as the acting curator. At the same time, I was still going back up to Albert Academy once or twice a week to teach history, and tried to tie it in with what we were doing in the museum. That picture was taken in 1962. All of those boys that are working along with me, they're all Form 1 students. I think 3 of them actually have passed on. One of them, one of the people in the picture became the Chief Justice of Sierra Leone. I'm sorry, Supreme Court Justice of Sierra Leone. Another one became an ambassador to Sierra Leone. Albert Academy is on Berry Street. It's right in the town itself, and they have about 800 students now. I'm still in contact with a lot of them.
The school that I taught at, I taught Form 1, 2, and 3, science, physical science, biology, and health. And the school was very poor, even though it was in the area of a university, it was still very poor. So as a science teacher, I had to come up with creative ways to still teach my lessons. For example, if I was doing a lesson on anatomy of fish or whatever, I had to catch my own fish and use razor blades because we didn't have scalpels and we didn't have dissective trays. So we, got creative and used cardboard and straight pins. If we were doing amphibians, we had to catch our own frogs and do that kind of thing. So we got very creative in terms of trying to teach.
I learned just so much, and I've got a chance to do some things also in Freetown with the trade industry and working with different artifacts. And I just had a lot of different opportunities. And I was just really blessed with the whole situation. And I have lifelong friends.
Okay, I think that people that are considering joining the Peace Corps ought to consider Sierra Leone as one of their top choices for lots of reasons, but I feel like the people there are so warm and kind. And in my experience anyway, they were very happy, to have me there and to work with the program that I was involved in.
I served in the health sector in Sierra Leone, West Africa, Bo District in Coribundo. It is in the far south of the country. My Peace Corps experience has had a profound impact on my life because there is a very small percentage of Americans that actually leave the country, but living in another country definitely challenged me, challenged my preconceived notions, and pretty much forced me to just learn to adapt quicker than I had before, and learn to be a lot more open-minded, which has been able to help me back stateside as well, just transferring those new skills into everyday life.
Being in the Peace Corps in Sierra Leone made me realize all the opportunities that were available for international development, and also a lot of the failings in how the international community normally approaches international development. I think I saw a lot of situations where really well-meaning international organizations implemented programs without ever talking to people in my community, in the surrounding communities. And because of that, these programs were bound to fail from the start, or sometimes they just simply weren't addressing the biggest needs that I actually could see living in my community, that my friends and family members in the community told me about. So just recognizing the amount of policy that was created without local consideration motivated me to want to change that, to want to go into policymaking and make policy that was inclusive of local considerations and centered local perspectives. And so because of that, after Peace Corps, I went to get my master's degree in public policy and global affairs at Yale through the Coverdell Fellowship, which is available to Peace Corps volunteers. And after I graduated from that, I got the Presidential Management Fellowship to allow me to be a policy analyst in the Department of Energy. So right now I'm working on energy workforce considerations, which actually ties in pretty well to what I was hoping to do after Peace Corps, in that I'm able to interact with local communities, impacted energy communities, and other workers to hear what they need and what the government can do to help. And that bottom-up approach is really how I think more policymaking should be done. And that's a realization that I would have never had if I hadn't been in Peace Corps in Sierra Leone.
It's a place full of potential, a place that even with all the challenges it has to contend with, has these amazing and passionate people that work every day to contribute to, its betterment. And they're always happy, they are always willing to invite you to have food with them and just talk and help you in any way they can. And in my experience, it's also a place where I met a lot of strangers that would later become my friends and are family to me. And since I've gotten back to the US, I've actually gone back to Sierra Leone and just to visit, just to see a few friends and see how everything is going.
People should consider applying to Peace Corps Sierra Leone and making it one of their top choices, because you will meet the warmest people. And I feel like that's, what more could you ask for?
An applicant that is considering Peace Corps should make Sierra Leone one of their top choices, because it is just, Sierra Leone is full of some of the nicest people I have ever experienced in my entire life. And I was a foster kid, so I grew up in a lot of families, a lot of settings. I met a lot of people, and I still continue to meet a lot of people in my current role. But Sierra Leone has some of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life.
I think every applicant should consider Sierra Leone as their top choice, because it is by far the best post to be a Peace Corps volunteer. I'm pretty convinced. Just the food alone should be reason enough. But beyond that, Sierra Leone is just such a welcoming country, and Peace Corps volunteers have a great reputation there. We've been serving in Sierra Leone since Peace Corps was founded. And because of that, communities really value Peace Corps volunteers and want to include us in what they're doing, which makes our jobs really easy.
from 1961 through today, I'm still involved with Sierra Leone. I'm supporting 2 orphanages, one in the Kenema district and one in the Bo district. More recently, I've been sponsoring portraits of all of Sierra Leone's heroes, starting with Baibure, Madame Yoko, Dr. M.C.F. Eastman, who founded the Sierra Leone Museum, and Sembe Pie, rather. And my interest in Sierra Leone continues. I go back every year.
Peace Corps means peace, exactly that. Peace Corps means cooperation. Peace Corps means getting to know people, sharing cultures, sharing values, and also helping to develop the human capital.
And I'm sure I did not become a doctor by accident. It's because I was nurtured, and Peace Corps, especially Bob Campbell, brought that into me, nurtured me to where I am today.
The word Peace Corps always means sacrifice for the other man. To me, that's what it says, service.
Peace Corps means to me education, motivation. I was motivated by the Peace Corps.
They were accommodative and hardworking. 2 words I give.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I promise to serve alongside the people of Sierra Leone and in the spirit of the Peace Corps family, past, present, and future, I am a Peace Corps volunteer. Congratulations.
You are joining the ranks of over 3,000 volunteers who have served in Sierra Leone, becoming part of a legacy of dedication and service. Service to others in the pursuit of peace, mutual understanding, and development.